I'm really looking at GeneFlow between populations of fat mucket, and what we're looking at is if the genetics from populations in the streams, like this one here, are mixing with the populations in Lake St. Clair. So we'll be looking at a few different rivers and comparing their genetics to using microsatellites to see if the populations are really distinct. If it's the case that they are distinct, then we need to protect both populations in the lake and the populations in the rivers.
So this is for one of my other grad students' projects. He's looking at how mussels and aquatic invertebrates in general recolonized the Great Lakes after the glaciers receded. And there are several hypothesized routes of entry into the Great Lakes. There's one kind of right at Chicago. There's still some connection there, but it's man-made connection now by canal. It's kind of the same route that Asian carp are people are always talking about closing it off because the Asian carp are going to enter the Great Lakes or about to enter or possibly already have entered the Great Lakes there. That's the one hypothesized route of entry, very likely. The Mississippi watershed to the Great Lakes watershed is very, very close to one another. It's within a couple kilometers of water sources there. Another hypothesized route of entry is a historical connection between the Maumee drainage, which is kind of a large river that enters into Lake Erie at Toledo, Ohio, and that has a historical connection to the Wabash River, which is a major tributary of the Ohio River. Very low-lying area in those headwaters. There's hypothesized stream capture events in those areas as the glaciers receded. The weight of the glaciers actually pushed the land down, and as the glaciers receded, the land came up and caused watersheds to divide, and that historical connection was cut off. So these two possible routes my student is looking at, we're collecting these mussels, maple leaf mussels, because they're found along both historical drainages. So we're going to look at kind of both sides of those historical connections, those hypothesized connections, and see how their genes have historically flowed, looking at genetic diversity, looking at gene flow historically and current gene flow among those. And what we can see is that historical signature that's really only 10,000 years old, and a long-lived mussel like this, it's really only a couple hundred generations perhaps. We might be able to see some of that historical genetic diversification, and see if the genes and alleles that are present that kind of moved into the Great Lakes, if they're on one side of the drainage, on both sides of the drainage, if they invaded from one route, or if they invaded from two routes.